gradually approaching, and he has finally touched the soil of Sierra Leone. They are having a brotherly hug, the two presidents talking and having smiles. And Ruth Amira Ruth Bangura is the little girl that is giving the bouquet to President John Dramani Mahama as a way to welcome him to the Republic of Sierra Leone. And the two presidents are now making their way. They are now coming. They are now coming. When you see the two presidents, it tells you they walk with confidence, and both of them speaking with a more lighter face, telling that both of them, there is this relationship between the two heads of states. Now the two heads of states are making their way to the stage where the guard of honor will be done. The two heads of states, they've made their way to the stage, and both of them standing, receiving the salutes from the guard of honor ongoing here at the Freetown International Airport to welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana to Sierra Leone, President John Dramani Mahama. So the two nations, the national anthem of both Ghana and Sierra Leone, have just been sung by the Republic of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces Band. And this guard of honor for the official visit of the Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama is being carried out by the 3 Infantry Battalion of the Republic of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces. The parade commander is Major Daniel Toure, who is now moving with the sword, moving towards the two heads of states. That is Major Daniel Toure.
Your Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghanaian Armed Forces.
no go ever sweet without
that thing what we call love. Now that make
no fact.
John Dramani Mahama to Sierra Leone. And viewers, mind you, this particular program is also being simulcast on radio at Slbc FM 99.9. Currently we are at the tarmac and the president of Ghana's plane has just flown in, and the plane has just flown in. It has entered the Sierra Leonean soil, and we are awaiting the arrival of the plane, and I'm currently at the tarmac. Mind you, John Dramani Mahama was elected into office in 2024, giving him a second term in office. John Dramani Mahama, I would say, is one of the luckiest politicians in Ghana. Looking at his history, he was a vice president under President John Atta Mills, who from 2009 to 2012, and President John Atta Mills passed away, and automatically John Dramani Mahama was sworn in as president. And in that same year, in 2012, John Dramani Mahama won an elections that made him to become president after the death of President John Atta Mills. During that time, his first term in office, he only did one term in office. And from that one term, the people, the Ghanaian people, voted him out of office, ushering President Nana Addo Akufo. And it was the same president, the former president of Ghana, Nana Akufo, that President John Dramani Mahama won during his first term. And after he won during his first term, according to research, it tells that during his first term as president, he did some immense developmental activities in Ghana. But due to cost of living, the people voted President Dramani Mahama out. And voting him out, they ushered in President Nana Akufo. And so viewers, as I told you, we're at the Freetown International Airport, and currently I am at the tarmac, and over there, as you're seeing, it is the plane carrying the president of Ghana approaching. The plane is gradually approaching. The plane is being led by a vehicle. The plane of President Dramani Mahama, for those that are watching, you see that it's a grayish, it's gray in color, gradually approaching its endpoint, where it is going to be stopped for the president to step down. So an orange airport vehicle is leading the plane, and we have the traffic controller signaling to the pilots. As the plane draws closer, so does its sounds tells that indeed the plane of the president of Ghana has approached. The plane, the Zata N6403 N604EP. It's a grey flight that brought the Ghanaian president to Sierra Leone. The traffic controller controlling the plane, and the traffic controller signaled for the plane to stop. The plane has finally stopped. As I told you, at the back of the plane there is a symbol that shows a lion, a symbol of a lion at the back of the plane. That's with the feathers, at the feathers of the plane. The stairs of the plane gradually rolls down. Gradually rolls down. The Zata N604EP is the name of the plane where the current president of Ghana is in. And whilst the Ghanaian president is about to make his way out, we've seen President Julius Maada Bio, the Sierra Leonean president, making his way to collect or usher in his counterparts from Ghana, ushering him in. Welcome, an official welcome to the Republic of Sierra Leone. President Bio for the scoop. Another security personnel. They are right in front of the staircase of the plane, awaiting President John Dramani Mahama to make his way down. President Julius Maada Bio, all dressed in the African grey attire and putting on a black hat. The color that President Julius Maada Bio puts on is just the same as the plane that President Dramani Mahama came with. Well, the protocols of Dramani Mahama and the president of Ghana gradually approaching, and he has finally touched the soil of Sierra Leone. They are having a brotherly hug, the two presidents talking and having smiles. And Ruth Amira Ruth Bangura is the little girl that is giving the bouquet to President John Dramani Mahama as a way to welcome him to the Republic of Sierra Leone. And the two presidents are now making their way. They are now coming. They are now coming. When you see the two presidents, it tells you they walk with confidence, and both of them speaking with a more lighter face, telling that both of them, you know, there is this relationship between the two heads of states. Now the two heads of states are making their way to the stage where the guard of honor will be done. The two heads of states, they've made their way to the stage, and both of them standing, receiving the salutes from the guard of honor ongoing here at the Freetown International Airport to welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana to Sierra Leone, President John Dramani Mahama. So the two nations, the national anthem of both Ghana and Sierra Leone, have just been sung by the Republic of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces Band. And this guard of honor for the official visit of the Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama is being carried out by the 3 Infantry Battalion of the Republic of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces. The parade commander is Major Daniel Touré, who is now moving with the sword, moving towards the 2 heads of states. That is Major Daniel Touré.
Your Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghanaian Armed Forces.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Hahn, and I want to welcome you to the St. Paul Center, down in our studio, surrounded by my coworkers. We're going to be spending some time together looking carefully at the 7 last sayings of Christ. Of course, they're scattered through the 4 Gospels. And we should be familiar with them as Catholics, as Christians. At the same time, I think we're aware of the fact that these are inexhaustibly deep, profound, and moving. These 7 last words of our Savior. I also want to introduce you to an 8-week series that we'll be doing together through Lent on these 7 sayings. Why 8 then? Well, the first episode is going to be an introduction and an overview, just to refamiliarize ourselves with this great tradition. So when we speak of the 7 last sayings of Jesus, what are we talking about? Well, first I want to walk through them with you, just so you get the lay of the land. First, from Luke 23:34, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. Second, Luke 23, verse 43, truly, amen, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Third, in John 19, verses 26 and 27, behold your son, behold your mother. Fourth, from both Matthew 27:46 and Mark 15:34, my God, why have you forsaken me? Number 5, taken from John 19:28, I thirst. Number 6, from John 19, verse 30, it is finished. And finally, number 7, from Luke 23:46, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Now, I think we all recognize the fact that a person's final words prior to his death, or as death approaches, are generally regarded as having deep significance. Oftentimes, they reflect what is on the heart of that one who is dying. Jesus, as you recall, remained relatively silent for the hours he hung on the cross, and no wonder, because of the excruciating pain. And literally, I mean excruciating, since crucis, cross, is at the heart of the term. But what he did say was obviously not mere banter. These are not sound bites. These are, in fact, words from his sacred heart. These are, in fact, prayers, not only to his Father, but also to those around him. They have a depth of meaning. They also have the quality of mystery. Indeed, I think we'll discover that they are relatively inexhaustible for our Lenten meditation. And just parenthetically, I would say as an aside, if you ever want to really feel inadequate, tackle the project of teaching on the 7 last words. Now, in the Bible, you probably know that 7 is the number of perfection, going all the way back to the perfection of the work of creation, the 7th day. And so the 7 last words, I would propose, can be seen not only as the fulfillment of creation and the primordial covenant that was established there on the 7th day. I would also suggest that we're looking now at the 7 last words as what triggers an entirely new creation and what fulfills and ratifies the new covenant. Now, let me just take a step back and look at the tradition that we have as Catholics in our church regarding this meditation, regarding this spiritual exercise. As you might recall, if you're familiar with the Venerable Fulton Sheen, this was a favorite of his, especially at St. Agnes in New York City, where he would preach on Good Friday. And he would preach all the way through all 7 last sayings. He did that for 58 years. Many of those meditations ended up in books. He has at least a dozen books on the 7 last words of Jesus. And it's an interesting thing because he'll compare the 7 last words to the 7 deadly sins, to the 7 petitions of the Our Father, to all sorts of other things as well. And so his successor, you might describe, Monsignor George Rutler, who also then preached on the 7 last words in New York City at St. Agnes, he compares the 7 last words to the 7 wonders of the ancient world, as well as the 7 ages of man. I'm not going to be doing any of that, but I would recommend all of that for your reading, for your own prayerful meditation. But I would say instead what I would do this year since it is the Jubilee, declared by Pope Francis, 2025, all year. Since the Jubilee is rooted in the number 7 and the principle of the Sabbath, going back to creation, but also to the Exodus and to the Ten Commandments, and even the entrance into the Promised Land and the conquest of Jericho, the 7 days, the 7 trumpets blown on the 7th day, etc. I would like to suggest that these 7 last words of our Savior are ideal for us in the Jubilee to really dive into the freedom that we have as the children of God as a result of not only what Jesus did on the cross, but also what he said. Now, this tradition of ours is rooted in, the last 5 or 6 centuries. You go back to the time of the Reformation and even before, and you'll discover this was already becoming common on Good Friday, but there's evidence to suggest that it was also done throughout Lent. Now, you think of St. Robert Bellarmine, who wrote the meditations that we still have not only in print, but also in translation. And this is really valuable, even though it dates back to 1618. But this Jesuit, this saint, this doctor of the church, really laid the foundation since then. In the next century, a devout Catholic composer from Austria, Joseph Haydn, did it again. Only back in 1786, he turned the 7 last words into an orchestral performance. 10 years later, it became a choral performance of the 7 last words. You'll find many other examples of great writers, great thinkers, great composers who take this as a point of departure, who see this as their own inspiration. Now, when we think about those 7 last words, now that I've read them, I want to clarify a few things, because those 7 last words of Jesus are not found in one place, not in one gospel. None of them have all of them. And so there's a certain distribution. It's not quite even, but you have 3 from Luke. You have 3 from the Gospel of John. Luke has the 1st, 2nd, and 7th saying. John has the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th. Well, what about Matthew or Mark? Well, the central saying, number 4, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That is taken from the Gospel of Matthew and Mark, almost identical wording. It's also important to recognize that these are not random. Though we don't have any perfect proof of what the exact sequence is, we do have this pious tradition that basically orders them in the sequence that I read. And so we can see how they're closely bound. They are interconnected. They are mutually illuminating. As I said, they're not just sound bites. They're not just talking points. They're not just banter. No, crucifixion was far too excruciating for that to be the case. And I want to just pause for a moment and reflect with you upon what we know of crucifixion. Now, I would suggest that you read Dr. Pierre Barbet's classic work, A Doctor at Calvary. This French physician was also a surgeon, and it has stood the test of time, even though it's been in print now for decades. But he looks at this from the perspective of an expert medical surgeon. And so you see the depth of the meaning of excruciating. But it's not just modern science and medicine. You will see in antiquity certain figures, you'll hear their voices. So, for example, Seneca said way back in the 1st century, can anyone be found who would prefer wasting away in pain, dying limb by limb, or letting out his life drop by drop? He describes this as long, drawn-out agony. You also have another statement from the 1st century Jewish historian Josephus. He said crucifixion is, quite simply, the most wretched of deaths. Origen, back in the 3rd century, described it as utterly vile, the vilest form of death. Quintilian actually describes what people witnessed over the course of decades in the Roman Empire. And that was frequently, they crucified the guilty. The most crowded roads were chosen where most people can see and be moved by this fear. And Cicero,
encourages his fellow Roman citizens not to even mention crucifixion because Roman citizens were not allowed to be crucified no matter how heinous their crimes were. So crucifixion was sort of invented by the Persians, but perfected by the Romans because it made death the most protracted agony. Crucified victims would sometimes be on the cross, not quite dead yet, for days. And there were no loincloths. And the pain was great, but you didn't lapse into shock. And that was also deliberate. And so how do you die? In the slowest way, gradually drowning in your own body fluids that collect in your stomach. How do you speak? Well, in Jesus' case, the only way he and the two thieves on either side could speak would be by hoisting themselves up on what? The nail driven through their feet. And so this is why I emphasize the fact that these are not throwaway lines that we hear from the lips of our Lord. So what initial conclusion can we draw from the cross, from crucifixion, or what St. Paul refers to as the word of the cross? It's unthinkable. It's barbaric. It really does frighten us. And so St. Paul tells the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 1, verses 18 through 25, "For the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved it is the power of God." But it's hard for us to even imagine this connection between the cross on the one hand and the power of God unto salvation. We're so accustomed to it. It's a sort of ingrained habit of thought, a spiritual instinct. But it wasn't in the first generation. In fact, it wasn't until a second century passed that Christians were even putting the image out there because it was so unthinkable. Paul goes on, "Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For Jews demand signs, going back to Moses, who performed 10 of them. Greeks seek wisdom. You think of Sophia, Philosophia, the love of wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those who are called both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God, Christ the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men." So eventually Christians did realize that the cross, though shameful, nevertheless evokes deep gratitude. And when we think about this, we recognize that the crucifixion of Jesus, even for unbelievers, evokes such a deep and wide range of emotions. You'll find in the writings of atheists and agnostics an expression of sympathy for what Jesus underwent voluntarily, knowing in advance, predicting it 3 times to the disciples in his own public ministry. But believers, or people who are simple seekers, recognize that in this agony and in these utterances, you have a whole range of emotions evoked. Horror, of course, shock, and at the same time, sadness and sorrow. You have a sense of pity and wonder, awe. You also have a sense of shame. And ultimately, it's meant to evoke deep repentance for the believers back then, but also for the eyewitnesses and even the soldiers, the executioners, as well as the spiritual and political leaders who perpetrated this most grievous of crimes. And so we recognize that these 7 last words, scattered as they are from the 4 Gospels, all constitute prayer. That is not just conversation that Jesus has with the thieves or with his mother and others. It really is prayer. From the very beginning, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing." And the last one too, "Into your hands I commend my spirit." So first and last, but not only that, but all of these expressions are from the heart of our Lord. They are in fact prayer. And so he's turning his suffering into sacrifice. He's turning his death into the supreme self-offering. He's turning pain into passion. And this is something, again, deeply ingrained in our hearts and our minds. But I would suggest that if the Catechism is right in describing the Lord's Prayer, all 7 petitions, as the most perfect of prayers, I would then say that in the 7 last words of Jesus, What we have is the most perfect man praying as the God-man to the Father for us, and also praying loud enough for us to hear his heart and nothing less. And so when we hear these 7 words, we recognize Scripture. He's not only addressing the Father, he's also quoting Scripture. Well, where does he do that? In the 4th and the 7th of these utterances. So number 4, my God, why hast thou forsaken me, is straight out of Psalm 22, verse 1. And then likewise, the 7th saying, what is that? Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Likewise, that's from Psalm 31, verse 5. If you take a close look, you'll see that both of these quotations from our Lord are taken from the first of the 5 books of the Psalms. 150 Psalms are divided into 5 books. The first book basically is all the Psalms that are written by David, and many others too. But these both are what you describe as Psalms of lament, sometimes described as Psalms of complaint. And why? Because they begin with a cry of dereliction. They begin with a cry of lament. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? And yet they end in a tone of thanksgiving and sacrifice, but thanksgiving and triumph. And so this is not losing your life. This is making your life a gift of love and saying those things that really write that upon our hearts and hopefully will transform our lives. And so I'm going to be using the Jubilee as the background because of the 7 last sayings and also the significance of the number 7. But what I'm going to foreground is really what is at the heart of all of the sayings, but also all of the details that we have heard all of our lives. And what is that? The Paschal mystery. I've been alluding to it already, but I want to circle around it and zero in on it because Paschal, that of course refers to the Passover. But if you look more closely, you'll also discover that the term Paschal refers to the suffering of Jesus, not just the Passover that he is celebrating one last time with the disciples in the upper room prior to Good Friday, but also the passion itself that we'll be focusing on as the centerpiece of his own self-offering, Good Friday at Calvary. But the third aspect of the Paschal mystery evokes the passage of Israel out of bondage in Egypt into the presence of God at Mount Sinai. And that was just a foreshadowing. The reality of that, of course, is the body of Christ passing from this mortal coil of earthly life through his sufferings into the presence of the Father. And it isn't simply a solo flight. It isn't something that he does alone as he assures this Dismas. He says, truly, amen, this day you will be with me in my kingdom. And so we celebrate these 7 sayings even as we feel, in effect, the sorrow and the repentance that it elicits from our hearts. But I want to again invite you to consider the Paschal mystery as a many-splendored thing. It's so multifaceted. It is not just God pardoning us. It really is something more, and that is a paradisical invitation for us to enter into the presence of God, as we'll see. It's not just our forgiveness, our acquittal. It is nothing less than our adoption. Likewise, we're not just hearing this amazing word from the beloved Son of this merciful Judge. We're hearing the word of the Father as the Son is giving it to us. So I want you to dispel the notion that it is the Son who is merciful, whereas the Father is just and harsh. No, on the cross, you see.
Today our country is privileged to be playing host to the new leader of Sierra Leone, President Julius Maada Bio, who was elected to office some 6-7 months ago and has already started putting his imprint on this country and also on the region. The visit essentially is for him to come and introduce himself to us here in Ghana and to the people, the government and the people of Ghana, to let us know that in him we have another very good friend, someone who takes seriously the relationship between Ghana and Sierra Leone, a relationship born out of many years of common struggle and a sense of also constant solidarity for the mutual benefit of our two peoples. We've had an opportunity of having a tete-a-tete, he and I, and as well as joining the ministers who are already engaged in quite detailed discussions about what is possible for that relationship and for that cooperation. So he's here. This attachment to democratic principles and democratic accountability is a very progressive one for the development of our region and for our nations in the region.
Ghana has been with us at difficult times, and at this point in time, as we prepare to start our own development process proper, I'm here to let you know that we acknowledge the fact that you have made admirable strides, and we think that we should learn from your experience. With the war, Ebola, and the mudslide, and a host of other things, we have been held back. But we are determined, and we are a resilient country. We are determined to forge ahead. But in doing so, you must have good friends. We identify the Republic of Ghana as a friend that we can count on, and you personally, and the wealth of experience that lies in the heads of your appointees to share. We know we have a shared vision and a common aspiration, a shared vision to make our countries better.
Ghana, we now have freedom.
Africa wants a freedom. Africa must be free.
Oracles indicated that Kwame Nkrumah was a devil.
Mr. President, there is a coup.
I've never seen such an explosion of joy.
Accra, Ghana's capital city and the largest city in the country. The word Accra is believed to originate from the Akan word Nkran, meaning ants. It is no wonder that you will see men and women hustling and bustling under the blazing sun to earn a penny or two. In these very streets walked a great man, a man who led Ghana's liberation struggle. His name, Kwame Nkrumah. It was during his reign that Ghana made great developmental strides, like the
they contested in the elections, and President John Dramani Mahama won that elections. And during his first term in office, there were tremendous developments that were recorded in Ghana, but he was voted out on the mandate that the people said, you know, the standard of living by then was not good. So they voted him out after spending just one term in office, 4 years, and they brought in Nana Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo, the former president of Ghana, spent 2 terms in office, which is 8 years. So President Dramani Mahama came back and is coming back this time for the second time. He did not contest against Nana Akufo-Addo when he came as for this time. He contested first and he lost against Nana Akufo-Addo again. But when he contested this last one that made him president, was not against Nana Akufo-Addo, but another person. So John Dramani Mahama, I would say for him and President Bio, they have similar history when it comes to presidency. Note that President Bio was once head of state as a military man. He handed over power, and after many years, he came back to power, and he is now doing 2 terms. So will it be the same for that of the president of Ghana, if he is going to go for 2 terms as President Bio is now doing in Sierra Leone, when he's going for 2 terms. This is an official visit. Just now, the bilateral talks ended with the ministers and that of the president, because John Dramani Mahama brought along with him some ministers, and also President Bio had his own ministers, which involved the chief minister, the foreign affairs minister, and other 2 ministers who were part of the bilateral talks. And the bilateral talks had ended, and the 2 presidents are now having a tete-a-tete talk. But this thing, everybody maybe wonder, why is the Ghanaian president here? Of what use, of what benefit is this visit to Sierra Leone? So these are, I know there are questions that are going through the minds of Sierra Leoneans, but I believe those questions will be answered in just some minutes or hours from now. Those questions will be answered, because the 2 presidents will have to do a presser. Well, viewers, we are outside at, let me say, outside the presidential terminal at the Freetown International Airport, where we also have the president, the coming of the Ghanaian president. He did not just come just like that, but he also have some Ghanaians, some of the Ghanaians who are residing in Sierra Leone. They came along just to show solidarity to their newly elected president, who was sworn in January of this year 2025. So they are here to show that solidarity to their president. So over here we see these gentlemen and ladies seated over here. They are all Ghanaian descent, but they reside in Sierra Leone. As you can see, this young man is seated with the Ghana Black Stars flag. So I want to talk to him. Hello, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Amos Maxwell Dean.
Yeah. So we see you here seated now with your Ghanaian flag. What brought you here?
Yeah, we are here to receive the Ghanaian president, but I'm a Sierra Leonean, by the way. But I work for the Ghanaians as a technician, computer technician.
So how do you view this this particular visit of the Ghanaian president?
Well, this is the first visit of the president of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. I believe this will bring closer relationship between Sierra Leone and Ghana as a whole.
Okay, so thank you very much. So we'll still continue to talk to more of the people here. Or we have this beautiful young woman seated here. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Matilda. Matilda Teria. Teria. Okay, we take it like that.
So what you hear at the Freetown International Airport?
Well, I'm a Ghanaian. Then we were appointed to come and meet our president, John Dramani Mahama. And I'm proud to be a Ghanaian at this moment, welcoming my president here in Freetown.
So, as a Ghanaian, your president coming to visit, the Sierra Leonean people, how do you view this type of visit?
Well, it's going to bring, I should put it, unify the 2 countries. at least we are all Africans. We are neighboring countries. So at the end of the day, we have a relationship. Sierra Leonean Ghanaians. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm working here. Had it not been the relationship between Ghana and Sierra Leone, I don't think I will be able to work here. But because of the friendship, I'm cool, I'm comfortable, and I'm confident to be here.
So thank you very much. So you see the compliment from this Ghanaian national saying that he's confident to be in Sierra Leone, even though Ghanaian, well, he's working here. So I have a gentleman here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Mina Elvis Entry Bedu. Take your time. Entry Bedu.
Entry Bedu. Okay, thank you very much.
Good.
So, are you Ghanaian?
I'm Ghanaian,
So
but partly Salomobo. Okay, so today is a very great and memorable day for us, especially the Ghanaians living in Sierra Leone. We came to meet the father of our land. We heard that he was coming, and we decided that whatever we were doing, we will make time for him today at least to come and welcome him.
There must be something that's special because you must have your busy schedule, but you decided to leave those schedule behind and come. There must be something that's special that made you to come here. What is that thing so special about the visit of your president that made you to come here?
Indeed, today is a Tuesday, and everybody who is having a means of work will be busy by now. But for our president to leave his land, come all the way to Sierra Leone, which is now like our second home, and he comes and has no family member meeting him, that is not so much of us Ghanaians. So we decided that whatever it is, we'll try as much as possible to come and meet him, make him feel welcome, let him know that we are also here. And we miss home though, but this is the second home that we are already enjoying here. So we just came to say hi to him, basically.
Thank you very much. Well, we've just got from another Ghanaian, and now we're about to talk to another one. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So who are you?
I'm Mr. Christian.
Christian what?
Fiadi.
You're a Ghanaian?
I'm a Ghanaian, yeah.
So what brought you here today?
Visit of the president. Yes, sir.
So what is so special about this visit that made you to leave all your schedule to say, oh, let me come here?
Anyway, get it to Chama so that.
Okay. So this is the chairman. Chairman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hi to sir. My name is Samuel Kuma. Yeah. Chairman of Milano VC Association. Yeah.
Today the Ghanaian president is here, and you guys are here to welcome. What's so special about it?
You know, the relationship between Sierra Leone and Ghana, I think, is a long-term relationship up to date. So when we hear that our president is visits a partner, that's why we are here to come and welcome him.
As Ghanaians, you must have had news of Mahama's work in Ghana, going to when he was elected. He has started working. And
yeah.
What are some of these good things that he has started doing that you believe is this coming here is a blessing to you?
First of all, accountability. And I sure Salute to learn something from a 24-hour economy where it's going to establish now. So I think Salute can learn something for that one.
So we've got that from the Ghanaians, the president of the chairman of the Ghanaians in the Ghanaian Association in Sierra Leone. He said that he believes Sierra Leoneans should be able to learn from what we call accountability. Something that President John Dramani Mahama has started doing, and also the 24-hour economy that Mahama have started, say he wants to establish in Ghana. So this is something laudable. Well, over here we have our own. We have stakeholders and we are guardians of our tradition and culture. And today they also are here to welcome the Ghanaian president. So we want to get from these local authorities to know what's their view or take about this sort of visit. So I'll start first with this particular gentleman seated over here. Good afternoon and welcome to us.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
So what's your name and who you are?
I'm Honorable Sheikh Santi Ibrahim Kago.
So how do you view the visit of the Ghanaian president?
No, it's fantastic. We saw it as a way of development in our country.
So one visitor out there might ask, what is this to do? What's so special about the Ghana?
You know, when president meets, they work collaboratively to see that a development is brought. I believe that is one of his main aim of coming here.
Thank you very much. And also we have seated over here, we have the presidential spokesperson who is going to talk to us about the significance of the visit of the Ghanaian president, Alhaji Alpha Khan. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, it's very significant in the sense that Ghana and Sierra Leone have had a very long history of cooperation, a very long history of relationship. We are tied culturally, we are tied traditionally, and also we interrelate in the regional establishments of ECOWAS. The current president has been also a chairman of ECOWAS before, but before that he has also been a very good friend of our president. And this is to reinforce the relationship, personal relationship, but at the same time also to enforce the fact that Sierra Leone and Ghana have a long tradition of friendship and cooperation, and that this will be continued during both their presidencies and their tenure. So I believe that this was a very good and significant visit for His Excellency Dr. John Dramani Mahama to visit his presidency.
So President Mahama is just coming in, not as a new kid in the block, but he's a new man. After some time he has left the presidency, and President Bill is currently in presidency. So what are those specific things that you think are unique that Mahama's coming to Sierra Leone and will learn from?
Well, don't forget that President Mahama, this is his second term. In bracket, even it's a second and a half terms, because he had a half term from continuation of President John Atta Mills. He had the complete that term. He did a term on its own, and then this is a second full term that he's having. So he has been president before, and he was one of the former presidents who actually came in to oversee elections in 2018. So he knows Sierra Leone, and he knows the problems of Sierra Leone. He knows that national cohesion is what we are craving for, and he has come to reinforce that with his colleague and friend and brother, President retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio. So I believe that there's a lot they can share together, especially with the Ghanaian president having been there, and President Bio has been there also before 1996. He was also leader of Sierra Leone. So for him also is of 2 terms and a half, if I'll say. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. That is the presidential spokesperson, Alhaji Alpha Khan. Well, with me, I also have local authorities here where we want to sound their views. How do they view the visit of the Ghanaian president to Sierra Leone? Being that they are local authorities, you know, they are custodians of a tradition and a culture. So, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you? I am Pakomra by El Kabia, Mina Region Parliament of Kamasundu Pepel. Well, I really enjoy and I really glad for see this Ghanaian president for country in Sierra Leone, because I know say this Ghanaian president is somebody where we know him in the position for quite a long time and go there back. So any problem we bring Canada could in the state, now they bring country to me. So gladly all with the stakeholders there, with the parliament there, that will all come Apollo this state. So now this in this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So I guess another paramount chief. Good afternoon.
My name is PC Baikurari of Chinkacho Chiefdom, Putloko District number 4.
So, how as traditional, how you view this visit of the Ghanaian president?
Well, For somebody like me, I come from a ruling house. Very important. For see somebody like this come from another country, when a Ghana can't see win our own country, I'm really happy this afternoon because some of them see us, so some of who not believe say this could happen in a lifetime. So I'm really happy for where this man come, the Canada country today, for come visit we inside this month of Ramadan. A good experience that for me.
So you feel say this visit get any benefit for Salone?
Yes, I believe so. You know why? Because what's in the talk is under na man to man talk. For let them know what they get for do for the two countries them. Either good relationship or bad relationship. We are losing a good relationship with this guy for talk to Ghana and Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much. So, viewers and listeners, you've got the voices of the people who are here to also welcome the Ghanaian president and his delegation to Sierra Leone. Earlier, we spoke to some Ghanaians who are in Sierra Leone, who some of them are residing, some of them are just working in this country. They've sounded their views. They came here to welcome their president. And the chairman of these Ghanaians who are residing in Sierra Leone, he said one of the things that President John Dramani Mahama is currently doing in Ghana, is that he's upholding accountability in the country, and also his attempt to establish a 24-hour economy. He said these are the two critical things he thinks Sierra Leone could learn from. And also, we also spoke to our local authorities here. We spoke to the presidential spokesperson and also paramount chiefs who are traditionalists. They also express joy and happiness looking at the relationship between Ghana and Sierra Leone that has spanned 4 decades. So this particular visit, they say it is a welcoming one, and it's something that they say could be beneficial for Sierra Leone and also Ghana itself as a nation. And one unique thing during the interviews is that all of the Ghanaians that are residing in Sierra Leone, they confirmed that in Sierra Leone they found home. That means in Ghana and Sierra Leone we have similar things, similar things that are occurring in both the two nations. So viewers, continue to watch the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Now we are heading to the presidential lounge where we'll be going there to wait on the two heads of state as they are about to round up their tete-a-tete talk. After the tete-a-tete talk, both presidents will have a presser, and after the presser there will be an eventual communique between the two nations. And during this particular presser, all of us will know what were the bilateral engagements that the two presidents engage in and what is in the communique. How beneficial could this communique be for both Sierra Leone and Ghana? So viewers, I am Emmanuel Samoa. Continue to watch the SLBC because we are still at the Freetown International Airport. We join our studio in New Englandville in Freetown.
on behalf of my government and the people of Sierra Leone, formally welcome all of you to this, our beautiful country. I'm particularly grateful that you have honored our invitation to join us in our 60th independence celebration today. 60 years ago today, this great and promising country gained independence. For us, this 60th independence anniversary is a celebration of our trials, tribulations, and triumphs as a nation. The most painful of these trial periods, as we could recall, was the 11 years civil conflict. Somehow, we have survived as a nation. One writer, Michael Chegg, aptly describes Sierra Leone's emergence from the turbulence associated with these trials as the country that came back from the dead. Looking back, the 60th independence anniversary should be a moment to celebrate our resilience as a people. But even as we celebrate our resilience, it is not lost on us the sacrifices made by our sister countries and in the continent to help Sierra Leone when Sierra Leone needed help the most. That is why, as a show of our gratitude, we have made it an objective and purpose that the 60th independence anniversary should also celebrate that trust and sacrifices your individual countries made in our turbulent journey thus far.
Fellow West Africans, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be in this historic city of Freetown this afternoon, and happy to be the guest of the brotherly people of Sierra Leone and of its president, my good friend, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, at your 60th Independence Day celebration. On behalf of the governments and peoples of all the countries represented here, and on behalf of the ECOWAS community, I congratulate warmly the government and people of Sierra Leone on this momentous achievement. Indeed, if there's any country in West Africa that has shown resilience and the will to persevere in the face of numerous challenges and obstacles, there's no better example than Sierra Leone, and this is worthy of commendation. Building a new Sierra Leone together, the theme for this celebration, imposes a sacred responsibility on each and every one of you to contribute to your quota with the construction of a happy and prosperous Sierra Leone, in which all of you, including particularly the youth, women, and the vulnerable in society, will have equal opportunities to realize your potential and build lives of dignity. That is when your country's independence will be meaningful. Building a new Sierra Leone together means you must always bear in mind the words of the oft-cited quote, which says, and I quote again, that which unites us is far greater than that which divides us. So whether you are Mende, Temne, Limba, Loko, Fula, Mandingo, Creole, Susu, Kisi, or Kru, I appeal to you to look beyond where you come from. You must deepen the cohesion amongst you. You must deepen the cohesion amongst you and promote a spirit of reconciliation for the sake of your beloved country, its progress and prosperity. You are Sierra Leoneans first and foremost, and I urge you to wear that accolade with pride. There's nothing you can do better to pay homage to Sir Milton Magai, Shaka Stevens, Isaac Wallace Johnson, Lamina Sanko, Ella Gulama, Hector Reginald, and the many others who fought to free you from colonialism and imperialism, than to dedicate this 60th Day Independence Anniversary to working hard for the peace, progress, and prosperity of Sierra Leone. As chairman of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of ECOWAS, I urge all of us in the community to work towards the day when all of us will look to doing business, first in West Africa and Africa, before looking to Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Because we have the men and women, the goods, the services, and the quality. When we think of West Africa and Africa before our individual countries, we're not just being Pan-Africanists, we're being true nationalists, because what makes West Africa better will make each of our individual countries better and more prosperous. It is time for those who believe in regional integration to give enthusiastic support to community decisions and inspire confidence and integrity in the structural organs of ECOWAS. Our people deserve no less, and the dream of prosperity will be within our grasp. I wish you all a happy 60th anniversary and God's blessings. May God bless Sierra Leone, Mother Africa, and us all. Thank you for your attention, and thank you once again for the honor.
A shock to me. They are nice. You see, like, you feel when you are a tourist, you feel like someone is cheating you, but this one you don't feel like they are cheating you. I saw them eating raw cassava from the bottom. I experience good roast. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ifya Kimora here. If you're old here, I really appreciate you for coming back always. But if today is your first time clicking on my video, I really appreciate you as well. But please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more of such adventurous, educative, and interesting content like this. So as usual, your travel queen in Sierra Leone. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some cultural shocks. That's what we content creators will call it, because you see, when you see things for the first time, or things that you were not expecting, things that is kind of weird, kind of surprising, and yeah, all those things, we classify it as culture shocks. And in Sierra Leone, these are some of the things that I saw, I experienced, I felt, and all blah blah. And this is it. Let me take you through. So I put them down. Yeah, this is my travel book. I mostly put my stuffs, everything, budgeting, spending, everything. things to do in a book, and this is the book. So I jotted some of the things down. I'm in Ghana right now, but I'm still on the period of like sharing my Sierra Leone videos. So one of my first shock is their roads. Why is their road a shock to me? Okay, so this is it. I traveled from Ghana to explore Liberia and Sierra Leone with my friends by road. So that means I used most road. And also the reason why I'm saying their road is that if you don't know, Liberia and Sierra Leone has gone through war. Yeah, so I first explored Liberia and I saw what I saw. When I got to Sierra Leone, I was expecting like something similar to Liberia, like their roads, but do you know what? It was a very different thing. From the border to the country city center, that is Freetown, I experienced good roads. Like the roads were so good to me. It was so good to me. So I was kind of surprised. I was expecting to see some bumpy roads, rough roads and all that, but no, that didn't happen. Their roads were too good. So that's why it's a shock to me. Do you get it? So now let's move on. And then we're going to talk about the border crossing. As I said, I did my travel through road. When entering Liberia, it wasn't a good experience at all. So that's why I'm going to add this one to my culture shock in Sierra Leone. When entering Sierra Leone, it was smooth. Someone says smooth. Exiting Liberia was smooth. Then you enter Sierra Leone was smooth. So it was smooth throughout. They will just stamp your passports. When I say smooth, like how they stress people if you are in Africa or you've been crossing African borders and you know how they're going to stress you at the borders, that's what I'm talking about. This one, there was no stress. They didn't stress us at all. No payments and nothing else. It was just a conversation and we were done. So that's why it was a shock to me, because in crossing African borders, entering or exiting, master, is either you pay or you just exchange or like trying to challenge defending at the border and all that. No entry fee to enter Sierra Leone. That's why it's a shock to me. Another thing is that they have a lot of security checks. A lot, all the way from the border to the city. We lodged in an Airbnb somewhere around Wilberforce. So from the whole border, from Bowater side, all the way down to Freetown, a place called Wilberforce roundabout, there were securities all over. So it was night. It was at night that we entered. We entered Liberia around 3. We got to the town around 4, 5, and we left to Freetown around 7. So I was thinking that it's because of the period, like it's night, so that's why there are a lot of security checks. When we started to explore the country the following morning, we saw the same securities, like there were lots of securities around Wilberforce. Yeah, I understood that place. They say the president lives around that place, so it was kind of, yeah. And there were a lot of securities. Yeah, that's what I saw. There were lots of security service around. They're going to meet them on the road. If someone can explain to me why someone said it, someone told me this is why there are lots of security service on the road like that, but I've forgotten. If you know, you can leave it in the comment section, okay? Like this one I didn't experience, but I saw it's the same thing in Liberia. It's about food. Sierra Leoneans eat raw cassava. It was a shock to me too to see them eating raw cassava, but this one they don't add anything to it, just the cassava, and they will eat it. So someone should explain it to me in the comment section. If you're a Sierra Leone and you are here, do you have varieties of that cassava that you're chewing? Because I know cassava is having some poisonous substance in it. I've forgotten that kind of the substance name. Yeah, I think there's a poisonous substance in cassava, but you guys eat raw, chewed like cassava. You just peel it and they will start chewing, swallow. I tried it in Liberia, but when I came to Sierra Leone, I didn't try, but I saw them eating raw cassava. So are there difference? Is it that yours don't contain like that kind of poisonous substance or what? And why do you eat? Since when? Someone was saying it's because of the war that these two countries are eating raw cassava. Someone like, not in your place but around Ghana, when I came to share my experience to my friends, someone was like, maybe it's because of the war, so when they are hiding in their rooms, there is no time for them to go and cook, so they will start eating the raw cassava. So I need a confirmation in the comment section to clarify things, not to myself only but to my viewers as well. So why do you eat cassava? When did you start eating raw cassava? And also, is your cassava free from that kind of poisonous substance? Let me know, okay? Sierra Leone people, they are nice. Yeah, it's a shock to me. They are nice. You see, like, you feel when you are a tourist, you feel like someone is cheating you. But this one, you don't feel like they are cheating you. No. Like, you know, buying things, like anything that involves money, anything that involves local lives, but they don't let you feel like a tourist. Like, you feel like you are a local. You don't feel cheated. Do you get? That's what I want to say. Yeah, because most of the places you go, nobody will tell you that you are being cheated, but you're going to feel that you are being cheated. But this one, no, the people are so nice. They are trying to help. Oh, no, I know Africans, we are that kind of hospitable, like Ghanaians, one of the best. They are very hospitable. We didn't go with a tour guide. We explored by ourselves, no tour guide, but we didn't feel that kind of being cheated. Although even if we were, we didn't feel it. Okay, so what shocked me the most is when I entered Sierra Leone, I was like, wow, all the way from the border, then down to Bo, then to this place called, what was the name? Is it Waterloo Street? Waterloo? Oh yeah, something like that, and down to Freetown. The country was good to me. It wasn't looking like a country that has gone through war for 11 years, 1991 to 2003. It wasn't having that kind of looks. Do you know why I'm saying that? Because whilst in Liberia, I didn't see much filling stations. Like, yeah, all what I'm saying, I'm trying to compare these two countries and some two African countries that I've been to. And because they have these kind of similarities, that's why it's kind of shock to me. They were having like big, good gas filling stations. You get it? Nice ones all the way down to the city. But Liberians, their filling stations were kind of few. They were using the local way, but in Sierra Leone, I didn't see I didn't see any local way of like filling a car with a fuel or gas or whatever. There were lots of gas filling stations. The roads were kind of cool, and yeah, I loved what I saw in Liberia. The city, how the city is being developed. And the roads, I always say the roads when it comes to development in Sierra Leone, in Freetown, they've done really well. And it was a shock to me because of what they've gone through before. Okay, so I noticed something. Do you know Africans, or like I would say Ghanaians or West Africans, most of the females, when you are going to school and you've not completed high school, you're going to trim your hair. You can't braid your hair.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, anytime from now we'll have the arrival of the two heads of states. The visiting head of state, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and the host president, His Excellency Dr. Julius Madabin. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, the two heads of state, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen of the press, following a fruitful bilateral meeting and a brotherly tete-a-tete between the two heads of state, Excellencies have graciously consented to deliver press remarks to share their insights and reflections on the visit. Please note that there will be no opportunity for questions from the media following these remarks. After the remarks, the President of Ghana will greet a cross-section of Ghanaian citizens residing in Sierra Leone, while the President of Sierra Leone will retire to the lounge. Following the greeting, His Excellency President Mahama has also consented for a photo opportunity with staff members of the Ghana High Commission in Sierra Leone. Thereafter, he will join his brother and colleague in the lounge to prepare for departure. It's now my distinct honor to invite the host president, His Excellency Dr. Julius Madabio, to deliver his remark, and that will be followed by the visiting head of state, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you very much. Members of the Fourth Estate, ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It has been my pleasure to host my brother and colleague, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. President Mahama is not only a colleague, head of state, but also a dear friend of mine. As you all know, this is President Mahama's very first visit to Sierra Leone since assuming office on the 7th of January 2025. Therefore, I want to take this opportunity to once again congratulate you, my dear brother, for the great victory in Ghana's election that was held on the 7th of December 2024. During our extensive meeting earlier this morning, we discussed a range of issues on the spirit of excellent fraternal relations existing between the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of Sierra Leone. We have regional and international matters of mutual interest, and on bilateral matters, we discussed the need to create further opportunities to scale up the bilateral agenda and discuss the possibilities for cooperation around commonly identified priorities in our respective national development agenda. This includes cooperation in trade and investment, agriculture, food and security, tourism, public health, education, fisheries, defense and security, and institutional collaboration. To achieve all of these objectives, we agreed to revitalize the General Cooperation Agreement that was signed in 2018 between Ghana and Sierra Leone for the establishment of a permanent Joint Cooperation Commission, JCC. I have also proposed that the inaugural meeting of JCC be held in Ghana at a date to be agreed upon by our foreign ministers. On regional security, we discussed issues bordering on terrorism, violent extremism, conflict in the Sahel, drug and human trafficking. We reaffirmed our commitment to cooperating and coordinating efforts to address these challenges confronting the regional and the consequences on peace, stability, and prosperity. On continental and global issues, we have discussed the United Nations Security Council reforms and the progress made by C10 in canvassing, defending, and promoting the common African position. We expressed our support and commitment to working for peace on the continent through regional and continental mechanisms and in consonance with continental processes. At this juncture, having made this short remark, I will now ask my brother and our friend if he has a few words to say. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother, President Julius Madabio, for the warm hospitality we've enjoyed arrived here. Our purpose for this visit is a short working visit, but also in the spirit of African tradition to say thank you to my brother, President Madabio, for the honor he did me in graciously attending my investiture as president on the 7th of January 2025. And so, as we do in African tradition, I should have come the next morning to say thank you, but better late than never. I was busy putting the government into place, and today was the best opportunity. We thank you for the kind hospitality. I think that President Madabio's report is very comprehensive. Indeed, we have discussed a broad range of issues, and one of the most important points we agreed on was to establish the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation as quickly as possible so that it becomes the institutional framework for us to build our cooperation on. There are many areas in which we can work together. And as he said, we discussed issues of agriculture and food security. We discussed issues of power and electricity, and how we can work together to enhance the West African power pool. We discussed issues of education and exchange, and we believe that the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation is going to be the best avenue on which we can build this cooperation together. On sub-regional issues, as an old face but a new face in ECOWAS again, we discussed issues to do with the issue of terrorism and the issue of the current alliance of Sahelian states and ECOWAS. And we compared notes because he had previously visited the 3 countries and I had just recently visited, so we compared notes, and we believe that it can form the basis for us to continue to cooperate as members of the same sub-region. He also briefed me on the effort that is being made to get a common African position on the issue of Security Council reform, and we are very much in support of the efforts that he has been making in that regard, and I pledge to him that we'll continue to work with him so that he can be the advocate for doing that. And so these were the major points of discussion. At the end of it, he gave me a meal of jollof rice, and it was very sumptuous. So I officially invited Sierra Leone to join Ghana and Nigeria in the jollof competition that we've been having. But we want to thank the Sierra Leonean people. I'm not new to Sierra Leone. I've done quite a lot of work here. I've been an election monitor here, and I'm happy to have been able to come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. A round of applause for the 2 heads of state. His Excellency the President of Sierra Leone will now retire to the Presidential Lounge, while His Excellency President Mahama will be led to the Ghanaian citizens who are waiting to receive their head of state. They are all having their flags. So we have to remind you that they are here and we are taking good care of them.
Let's.
Where are they? Oh, contractor. I do see that other in there. Okay. And one is one. Yes. Many presidents also Kasa. Also on money multi also Ghana for where they what come from Waboma Basso.
Boy or permit to know permit to know us. Boy or Hona, a power chop. Tax Nusu or airport Nusu. Nusu come.
How can we be?
I am deputy there, Abahana
Yes.
And I'm very much glad to see you.
Yes.
And I pray that day today come.
So the president, the Ghanaian president, John Dramani Mahama, is interacting with his citizens, his subjects, who are residing in Sierra Leone and those who are working in Sierra Leone. So you see the excitement of them to see their presidents coming to talk to them.
Peacefully with you, and so he actually praised the Ghanaian community, and that's why he said after our meeting I should come and meet with you and extend their appreciation for the work you're doing here. The few issues you've raised about the permits and also about you talked about tax or something. Tax. Okay. Well, I'll try and raise it and see what progress we can make. But well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
God bless you.
I will see you when you come home. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the Ghanaian president is done talking to his citizens, and during his talks he made commitments to fix some of the challenges that the Ghanaian people are facing in the country. President John Dramani Mahama with his delegation taking a photo opportunity. So he's about to retire. So President John Dramani Mahama is taking a photo. This is the official photo opportunity before he departs for Ghana. He's done talking to the Ghanaian citizens in Sierra Leone. He's done talking to them. So viewers, this is how the visit of the Ghanaian president is about to come to an end. A visit that just lasted a few hours. President Mahama landed in Sierra Leone at around 12 p.m. and just about 2 o'clock he is about to leave the shores of this country. When he was coming in, he was being greeted with the drummers and the cultural people. Now he's about to go. They are also, bidding him farewell. So President Mahama and President Bio, they are at the presser. And from the presser, they made it clear that it's to strengthen bilateral relations between the two nations. So this is how the visit of the Ghanaian president is about to come to and end. So viewers, we're still at the Lunge International Airport. So just a quick highlight of, some of the critical things that were mentioned in the presser. The President Bio and President Mahama, one thing observed throughout the statements, the presser that they had, the two gentlemen, they did not refer to themselves as presidents. They repeatedly and continuously and continually call themselves brothers. So that tells the relationship that exists between Sierra Leone and that of Ghana. And from the presser, from the release that they read, they spoke on diverse issues and issues that could be beneficial to that of Sierra Leone and even the West African region. So, so among the issues that they agreed on is the improvement of trade, agriculture, energy, all other sorts. And all of those things that are mentioned or that were mentioned by the two presidents in the presser, during the presser, these are things that are critical to Sierra Leone currently. Because when you look at the energy level in this country, it's somehow down. And also when you look at trade, and also when you look at agriculture. So these are critical things that these particular presidents, they spoke about and they captured it in their presser. And also they talk about terrorism, counter-terrorism, and the flow of illicit drug, which is a menace, which is currently a menace in Sierra Leone and that of the sub-region. They spoke on how to counter terrorism and also the turmoil that is in the West African region. They spoke of how both of them have, spoken how they've mapped out ways to see how they could intervene to bring, peace to the West African region. And one thing that President Mahama mentioned is that he's not a new kid in the block, but during his second term, he's still a new kid. He's not a new kid in the ECOWAS bloc, but he's also a new kid. So that tells you that, the relationship between Sierra Leone and Ghana, it's something that is unique. So whilst the cultural people are dancing, you see the fanfare. The coming of President Mahama tells you that even though his visit was a very short one, but the fanfare around it, it's something that one could say people do appreciate his coming, both from the Sierra Leonean side and from the Ghanaians residing in Sierra Leone, because they were here. And as a president, he showed something of a leader that has the arts, thinking about his people. He did not just come and say, I'm going, but he created time to have tete-a-tete talks with his people. And he spoke to them. And in very close, when I was close by, he made mention of saying, you've mentioned the issues that you are facing. We'll see how we'll address those issues. So President John Dramani Mahama, has raised the hopes of the Ghanaians here in Sierra Leone. And that move alone, talks of the type of leader that he is. Currently, we are on the tarmac waiting for President Mahama to come out. And the 3 infants brigade, are standing by. The 3 infant brigade are standing by because when he was coming, they gave him the guard of honor, welcoming him to the Republic of Sierra Leone. So the 3 infant brigade are standing by. Now the 2 presidents are making their way out. President Mahama giving a wave, cheering wave with a smile. That's of President Bio. Both of them, when they were coming in, they add lighter faces whilst coming in. And whilst Mahama is going, President Mahama is going, their faces are more lighter. You know, they are having brotherly talks. You see the two presidents, the way that they talk tells you that they are familiar with each other. The two presidents, they are moving on top of the red carpets. On top of the red carpets. They are making their way to the stage. Making their way to the stage, President Bio and that of President John Dramani Mahama. Dramani Mahama has climbed the step, followed by President Bio. Major D. Toure, the commander of this parade, is leading, is stepping, and the three infantry battalion, they are giving out the melodious song to bid farewell to the Ghanaian president. Ghanaian national anthem ongoing. Now from the Ghanaian national anthem to the Sierra Leone national anthem. So the regimental colors and the national colors are both on the floor to tell you that the visit of the visiting president has come to an end. The colors are up again. Major D. Toure with the sword is marching. It's marching. Proceeding to the stage to give final salute to the visiting president. So this is the end of the Guard of Honor parade. Major DCC is taking the leave of the president of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, bidding farewell to him. This parade marks the end of the Guard of Honor, which is the end of the Ghanaian president's visits. Now the two presidents are now making their way down the stage to go to the plane. They are making their way down the stage. They've gone down the stage, you know, slowly they are walking, speaking as and like brothers, majestically walking on the red carpet with confidence. The two presidents, President Mahama going up there to shake hands. To shake hands, those are the Ghanaians that are walking on his side in Sierra Leone. He's bidding farewell. Hey, Chief. So he's smiling and shaking hands, whilst President Bio is also beside him smiling.
Hey, don't come in.
You know, that tells President Mahama is bidding farewell to the paramount chiefs, the local authorities.
Open.
Vice President Bio is beside watching and smiling. And as viewers and listeners, as you're hearing, the wheels of the planes are on. The wheels of the planes are on. It's now the Chief Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister. The wheels of the plane are on. And the two presidents are closely approaching the stairs of the plane. The Zata N604EP, grey and black plane. They are bidding fair with smiles, and the President Mahama, has just climbed the stairs of the plane. He has just climbed the stairs of the plane, turned and waving, saluting, bidding farewell. So this is how President John Dramani Mahama visit to Sierra Leone comes to an end. And President Bio has seen his brother and counterpart. He is now walking. President Bio is walking to the presidential lounge. So viewers, this is where the visits of the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, comes to an end. He landed in Sierra Leone at around 12 p.m. today, and just about 2 p.m. over 2 p.m. he's leaving Sierra Leone. This is his first official visit to Sierra Leone as the President of Ghana. The last time that he was here, he came as the lead of the ECOWAS electoral mission in Sierra Leone, which was in 2018. And today, he came as a president to Sierra Leone. And from the statement that President John Mahama made, he says, as African, he's here to pay respect to Sierra Leone, and that's of President Bio, because President Bio was there to cheer him up during his inauguration ceremony at the Black Star Stadium in Ghana. So viewers, and President John Dramani Mahama is the current president of Ghana. This is his second term as president of Ghana, and he is now having the first female vice president of Ghana. So viewers, you have been watching and listening to the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Well, I want to say a very big thank you. Now, before saying thank you, we are looking at how the stairs of the plane is now rolling up, folding up gradually, and it's about to be closed. Finally, the stairs of the plane has closed. The Zata N604EP is about to move. The plane has closed. The plane has closed and is about to move. The traffic controller is signaling. So viewers, this is how the visit of the Ghanaian president comes to an end in Sierra Leone. You have been watching and listening to the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Emmanuel Samoa. I want to say a big thank you to you, the viewers and listeners of this fine broadcaster. And also I want to say a very big thank you to my producer, Josephine Kamara, and the technical people, David Williams, Stephen Damola, Abubakar, and also Senesi Makavoy. And also thank you to Tili Barry there, who was there to give in helping hands, and all other crew members who made this particular live coverage a success. Until we meet again, I have been Emmanuel Samoa. Bye.